Okay, so I can't sleep. And I thought I'd make a video about something that took me a long time to figure out. Again, about assertiveness. Um, I didn't like for a long time. I would talk to people, whenever something happened that I didn't like. I would often, or someone did something that bothered me, or they would ask for something, whatever the situation was, I would often act in a way that, like, either I would have an attitude because I'm like, I don't like what the person did, so I'm irritated, and I would get mad sometimes. And even when I would complain about what they're doing, let's say, for example, the person does something and I get mad, but I end up, despite me being mad, I end up giving in to their request or somehow giving them leeway, like kind of like brushing it over. Like I get mad, but there is no real consequence for that particular action that they took. So they would do it again, and I would get mad and whatever, like whatever. Or I would get distant. I would withdraw, and then at some point I'm like, okay, I can't keep on. I can't keep up with this, and I would go back to them and say, hey, whatever. I didn't like this, whatever. Like it just that I would have a reaction, but never really stick to the consequence that I had decided to take. And I figured out, I read, I don't know if it was in the creative aggression or if it was in the perfect right? Um, but I read in one of these books that it doesn't matter. I think it was, yeah, it doesn't matter. It wasn't the perfect right. It doesn't matter. I mean, your reaction to the situation itself doesn't matter much if you keep on giving in. If you give in, then it doesn't matter if you yell, if you cry, if you scream, if you push, if you become angry. Of course, certain reactions are so drastic that they might create a certain feeling or create a certain reaction in the other or make them stop. Right? If someone hits you and you hit them back, they may stop, right? Because it kind of catches them off guard. But let's take the example of a parent, for example, of a parent that often complains about an adult child that doesn't want to fulfill their responsibilities, that doesn't want to assume their responsibilities as an adult. But every time a problem comes up, they will fix that problem for that child. While they're fixing the problem for that adult child, they will complain. They will say, "You're such a loser," or I'm so tired of doing that. I'm so tired of, you know, like, what am I gonna do? What are you gonna do when I'm not around? Stuff like that. And they would get mad and they would nag, and but they would give in, meaning they would still fix the situation for that adult child. And I've seen cases where that adult child is 40 plus, 40, 30 plus, and they still keep on fixing and fixing and fixing for them. despite getting mad, that child is still expects his parents, his or her parents, to resolve issues for him or her. Yeah. Um, because he knows that whether they cry or scream or yell or whatever, it doesn't matter, because they keep on giving in. So this is your lesson. This is the lesson for you. If you're having trouble with a certain behavior, something that repeats itself, and you don't feel, you get mad or whatever, but it keeps on happening, stop and ask yourself, are you remaining firm with your consequence? If you say, hey, I will not accept this, then you will not accept this. Point, like it's a period. You will not accept this. But if you say, hey, I won't accept this, and then the person does it again, you get mad, but you're still okay with them. You're still accepting it. You're just mad, but you're accepting it. Your action towards that action is what defines whether the person will continue or not. So if someone does something, you told them once, you say, hey, don't do that again. You told them twice, don't do that again. I'm not okay with that behavior. I do not like that. They do it a third time, you remove yourself. You either remove yourself, or you take a decision that will create a consequence for that person, so they know they cannot cross that boundary again. They cannot, So try not. No, I know it's not easy, because I struggle with that too. Try not to get mad. I mean, you can get mad, but make sure that your actions match your emotion. Make sure that the consequence is set, and do not give in. Because if you give in, even if it's a tiny little bit, if you give in just a little bit, that is enough for the person to not respect your boundary. So let's say, for example, your boundary or whatever, decision or whatever. Let's take one last example. Let's say someone likes to manipulate you into giving them money. So they will come to you. They know you are very generous. They will come to you and tell you, oh, they have, so many problems, and they're going through so much, and you feel the urge to give them money. But you realize that it's becoming a pattern. And then that kind of irritates you. Like, they always come. If you take the decision for yourself that you're not gonna give them money anymore, or even if you get mad at them, or let's say you become mad at them, or you become irritated every time they do that, you're like, oh my God, but then you give and you give, they will keep on coming. Even if you give 90% less than what you usually give, that still leaves the door open for them to come back and ask again. So if you do not want a behavior to continue, you do not give in at all.